Tim is a USPSA Grand Master shooter and a Masterclass IDPA shooter. He's been instructing since 2015 and loves working with people of all skill levels. He has a heart for teaching, and I love people like that. And he makes a personal investment in the improvement of every shooter that he teaches. So let's bring Tim Herron on. Welcome, Tim. Thanks for coming on tonight.
Hi, Laura. Thank you for having me.
You bet. It's my pleasure. I've been looking forward to this interview. I don't know you especially well, but I have watched you online, and one of the most fascinating things about you, Tim, for me at least in the beginning when I learned about you, is your story. And you have an interesting story. You actually used to work for Honda as,
Mhm.
did you say you were a master mechanic?
Yeah, I was a master technician since I want to say 20, no, 20, 19, Jesus, 19. I want to say 1998 is when
Okay.
I first was employed with at a Honda dealership, and then kind of worked up the ranks and became a Honda master technician, and was a Honda master technician until I left the field in officially in 2018. So yeah, a long time, 23, 24 years, something like that. So altogether.
Right. Right. Yeah. And so that fascinates me. I get the correlation now, but I do want you to go more into your background about how you went from a mechanic to a firearms instructor. And not only that, but um uh, quite the shooter as well. So how did that all come about?
So I've always had a passion for teaching, right? I mean, I say right like you know, but
Well,
I've
I
always
do,
had a
but
passion for teaching.
uh-huh.
When I mean, out of college, and then it right into my first, like my first career, which was the automotive field. I had kind of always thought that I would go from like, get 3 or 4 years or 5 years or whatever of experience as an automotive, in the automotive profession, and then kind of move into a more like coaching, teaching role or mentorship role.
Mhm.
Um, life things happen. You get married, you have kids, you don't get back, you're not able to get back to go to school and things like that to finish a bachelor's degree and stuff. But along the way, as I'd been, kind of working up the ranks, as a master technician, I'd always been a fairly extroverted, very personable, person. And I love to help the newer guys, or the guys that were not as experienced. So I've always had a
Mhm.
hunger and a yearning to want to better everybody. Like we're all there to do a role. We're all there to help customers. So why not make, kind of help breed the best technicians we can? So I was given the opportunity, God, way back in the day, 2003, 2004, to become a mentor, like at my dealership that I worked at, and mentor young techs. So as younger, like technicians come in, or high school students that come in, and they work on the lube rack for a couple of years or so, and if they show potential in kind of wanting to further expand their horizons as an automotive tech, that they'd put them under me for say 6 months to a year or 2 years, and I would mentor them along the way to to help them become an automotive technician. And so
Mhm.
that was very rewarding for a long time. I got into, kind of as a hobby. Of course, I'd always been kind of a car nut. As into a hobby, I got into SCCA, or sports car club racing, and primarily autocross, and then what they call time trials, which is like autocross or time trials, like one car at a time on a race car track. And I loved that and fell in love with performance driving, and that became like my number one passion for many years. I started doing that in 97, 98, and I carried that until about 2010, 2011, when I kind of picked up shooting. But along the way in performance driving, I had kind of risen up the ranks and kind of proven myself. And I had sought out instruction, with driving coaches to make me a better driver. And I saw the value in teaching and instruction. And
Mhm.
I had a couple of mentors along the way that kind of, I guess, saw my potential as an educator as well. That kind of
Mhm.
took me out of, kind of out of the driver's seat, so to speak, as a student, and put me in the passenger seat with a helmet and a notepad, and were telling me to like, encouraging me to like, okay, teach, like show me
Yeah.
what you got, how, and learning how to then convey information to students. So that,
Yeah.
that started a very long kind of long lasting career as a performance driving instructor for a number of years, until I'll be honest, I kind of burned out. I burned out of it. But a lot of it had to do with like my kids were getting a little older. Racing
Yeah.
was becoming more and more expensive. It
Yeah.
was cutting into, family time. It was cutting into work time, and all of those
Mhm.
things. And
Mhm.
I probably stretched myself a little thin, for a lot of it as well.
Mhm.
I took a break. 2009, 2010, I took a break. And then a good friend of mine was a like armed security officer and had to go do on a day that I had off, went to go do their qualifying for the year. And I was like, qualifying? What do you mean qualifying? They were like, well, why don't you come with me? You got the day off. You could see what it's like to qualify. And I was like, okay. And so I watched that, went to the range. It was kind of one of my first times at the shooting range. And I really wasn't from a family of gun owners or shooters or things like that. So it was all kind of foreign to me, right? But I
Mhm.
knew how to go fast. That was no
Yeah, you already were going fast, yes.
right. So I went and followed them and watched them qualify. And after they were done, I was like, man, that looks like a lot of fun. Can we can we use your duty gun and I'll buy some ammo and like you tell me a thing or two to shoot? And they said yeah. And it kind of went from kind of showing me the ropes a little bit of just like how to hold it and how to grip it and how to press the trigger and how to align the sights and things to like, I mean, I I fell in love with it, and it was just like, man, it was
Yeah.
something that was really fun, really neat to do. I saw also the value, obviously, from as a defender, right? Like
Mhm.
I was a single dad of two kids. Had some other changes that kind of, that kind of went on in life that had me kind of living in, like some different, some questionable areas, kind of getting back on my feet, financial situations and things that it
Mhm.
made me really start to question or second guess the safety of like myself and my kids, and my family. So it was one of those things where I kind of took seriously too. Is like, man, I hadn't really ever thought about a firearm before, but this this really is something that both interests me, but as at the same time, it's something that I really want to get a lot more knowledge and more education on as well. So
Mhm.
that honestly is what kind of led me down the way to gun ownership.
Mhm.
Turned, I quickly kind of found USPSA and competitive shooting, and for me, that was like, man, and instead of racing in cars, it's racing with guns. Like that's right up my alley. So that's kind of where the passion for USPSA came from. And
Yeah.
I kind of rose up the ranks there. And as I continued to train and improve my own skills and progress and seeing success, then other people started reaching out to me. They're like, hey man, how did you get so good at that? Can you show me a
Mhm.
thing or two?
And then your teacher
And
kicked in,
right.
didn't
And that
it?
was kind of like,
Yeah.
oh my God, I can do this too. And me having those light bulb moments then turned into me wanting to teach other people and
Right.
give them those light bulb moments. So
Yeah.
that's what really prompted me then to, like I kind of dabbled for a little while, 2014, 2015, teaching a little bit, just kind of a part-time thing. And people were willing to give me money to teach them how to be better with a gun. Right. And I was like, well, this is kind of cool. I can maybe use a little bit of this income to like, like help pay my way into matches and things like that. I was just using
Mhm.
it as a way to subsidize my hobby. And
Yeah.
it slowly but very quickly and surely grew into, now I'm kind of backed up against the ropes by like 2017, where I was teaching almost full time and still working full time. And it just
Oof.
got to the point after 22 years, and by 2017, it's 22 years in the field. I was like, man, I actually had to sit down and talk with my service manager at the time. I was like, okay, so listen, here's what I'm
Here's
thinking,
the deal.
and he knew like my passion. He knew I was very passionate about it, and so he was
Yeah.
very supportive as well. And
Mhm.
he was like, "Hey, man, you got to do what you got to do. If you ever want to come back, you're welcome to come back." But so I kind of started in the towards the end of 2017, early 2018 was kind of my exit strategy out of kind of the workforce and
Mhm.
into entrepreneurship and owning my own company
Which is a
and
whole other plunge, right? In and of
yeah.
itself. Yeah.
So
Learning
it was
curve.
it was very scary,
Yeah.
to leave the safety net of employment, but at the same time,
Mhm.
it's very liberating
Mhm.
to kind of step out. And it's not something I would have done on my own if it wasn't for my kids and my girlfriend now that, we've been together 6, almost 7 years, where it was like a lot of her prodding. She was like, "Hey, are you going to jump, or are you just going to be
Mhm.
afraid to take the leap?" And I was like,
Mhm.
"Stop pushing me, woman." And,
Yeah.
and it really, and kudos to her for really having the gumption to give me the push I needed to follow and pursue my passion. So, and here we are. It's
And here we are.
2023 now. I've been teaching full time since 2018. So this is year number 5, and hopefully it's as successful, if not more successful than even years past. So